Hey guys, welcome back to Tarot God New World. In today's video, I wanted to talk about some mid-game mistakes, mainly focused around gear that I really want to re-emphasize. I kind of mentioned this in some of my earlier videos, but I want to show you examples and stuff like that about why I do what I do, especially around gearing itself. So first of all, when we go ahead and we look at the shop. Now, when we look at the shop, I recommend never buying gear from here for the gems. It's just too expensive. I would rather, once you get into chapter 16, you can get these things from AFK loot, and I would rather dump gems every day into the fast rewards, because then you're getting experience and all the other resources at the same time. And you know, if you're doing max refills, you're doing like 400, 480, 530, something like that, about 530 I think it is, around that gems. Don't quote my math, it could be wrong, but I mean, I've been doing that and doing max refreshes, and in 4 days of chapter 16 I've managed to get myself 2 yellow pieces. So I just never recommend buying anything from here with gems in terms of gear, especially not pre-yellow gear. So yellow gear is the max we have in the game at the moment. If they're going to copy AFK Arena like they have with most functions in the game, I'd say eventually we get items that will upgrade these yellow gears to a next tier, instead of having completely new gear drops. But if they go for something different, that will be something else. But yellow, as far as we know, is the rarest gear that we have in the game. So I still would not buy it from this shop. And then that takes me into the next one, which is the Alliance shop. You can see here, I just bought one today. I lucked out. I got the right element. I was hoping for red for my Hua, and I got it. But I buy gear, like I said in my early videos, don't buy like the red gear or the purple gear from the guild shop. Wait until you get to the point that you unlock yellow gear and then buy the yellow gear. For me, I've been able to buy 3 pieces of gear so far, and I'll show you the pieces and what pieces I recommend picking up first. But I've picked up 3 pieces of gear from here, and as you can tell, I am completely broke on Alliance coins. I got 150 left. So if I was buying purple gear and then buying the red gear, I would be just completely strapped, and I wouldn't have these pieces. And like I said early on, I got to chapter 16 in a bit under 2 weeks, I think it was. And the thing about that is, like, if you progress so fast through the early game, and as we get more characters in the game, people coming later, will progress faster. Now, it does depend on your RNG of characters and stuff like that. Some free-to-play players who started at global launch may still not be there yet. But when you look at the lifespan of the game, I don't think the value that you get out of spending guild coins on the lower tier gear is gonna benefit you as much as just waiting and getting those first yellow pieces to start beefing up your unit. So once again, in the guild shop, I definitely don't recommend buying gear until it is yellow gear that you can see in the shop. As for which pieces to buy, that is your next thing. Now, I recommend buying pieces for your main carry first and then your second carry next. And the way I prioritized mine was to get my hats. Now, my hats, I did luck out on I believe it was an AFK loot. I managed to get one of these ones. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was actually this one. And so with these gear, the 3 I like to get are these 3. This one has evasion on supports and stuff. It has evasion and accuracy. But this slot with evasion is super helpful, especially for your main carry, especially if it's a melee character like hats, because that evasion is going to help them so much with survival. The next one over here is going to be this one, which has the damage stats. But I honestly prefer this one over it because it has accuracy. The 2 most important stats for me for a hyper carry in this early game, pushing into chapter 16, the 2 most important stats for me are evasion and accuracy. So I really like prioritizing this slot and this slot to get those stats. Then close behind them comes this one, because this does provide a lot of damage for your carry. And then this slot I am leaving. I'm not too stressed about this one. Yes, it does give you the resistances and a good chunk of HP, but at the end of the day, I want to focus on the evasion for survival more, and then focus all in on damage. So this is the one I'm happy to forego at this stage for my carry. And especially when it's someone like Hats who has a lot of avoidance, I just want to focus on his damage and that. And then I want to move on to my next carry. So for me, the next carry I went for was Hua, and this one I bought this piece as you saw today. So that gives her a good chunk of accuracy to help with the damage dealing. And then this one I actually lucked out on a drop. I actually lucked out and got this on my AFK loot, which was huge. And obviously this one gives the evasion and accuracy. So the next piece I am looking out for in the guild shop, obviously I have to save up enough points for it before I can get it, but it is going to be this one. And then I'm just going to sit on that for a while. Then look towards the next characters I want to build. Yes, having these pieces would be nice, and eventually I may buy them from the shop. But I'd rather focus on just waiting, saving up, and seeing what I get from AFK loot, because I may get that last piece from AFK loot. Now, if you have a difference of opinion on this one, let me know. Maybe on Hua, I get this one because she doesn't have as much dodge, so she does need as much survival as she can get. So I'll just play that by ear with experimenting. But I definitely think these two are my top priority. This one for survival, this one for damage, and then this one for the extra damage. But that accuracy is super helpful, once again, along with the evasion. Then the next thing I want to talk about is upgrading gear. Now, I've mentioned in videos before, feel free to upgrade your lower tier gear. There's no gold or experience losses in feeding those on. But once we get into getting your yellow gear is super expensive to upgrade. And what I like to do is upgrade it evenly. So if you look at her, she's got one at level 3 because I was testing it. And then if we go up here to my hats, his are all at level 2. And what I want to show you about leveling it evenly is that it allows you to get more generalized stat growth on your characters. So if we go here, we'll use evasion as the stat we look at just because it's the simplest number for me to look at. So if I go upgrade one level, it's going to cost me 800. If I go up again, it goes up to 2400. So that next level is 1600. So once again, if I go up one level, it's only costing me 800 of these bad boys, or 8000 experience. And that is giving me a total of 13, is that right, math? Yeah, 13 evasion. And if I go up again one more from 169 to 182, it's another 13. So you're getting the same stat growth from level 2 to 3 and 3 to 4, but as you can tell, the cost of upgrading doubles. So we go from 8,000 to get from 2 to 3 to 16,000 to go from 3 to 4. So because you start running out of these upgrade materials, and also you start running out of gold, because if you look at the gold cost as well, we've got 800,000 and then it goes up to 2,400,000. So you get another 1,600, 1.6 million in the gold cost. Because your resources start strapping, I like upgrading all of my yellow tier gear evenly because it does get so expensive. So for instance, this is where I was up to, so I wanted to show you guys in a video. I'll go ahead and upgrade that one to level 3. I've probably saved enough because I was saving this for a video for a few days. So I've probably saved enough to go to level 4 on the ones that I have. So that one will go to level 3. That one will go to level 3 as well. And then I can go back over to my Hua if the game doesn't lag out, and I can go into this piece and I can enhance this one to level 3. Perfect. Now, the next thing I'm going to do on the account is I'm going to prioritize the evasion ones, because both of these are melee characters and I want that evasion. So the first thing I'm going to do next is upgrade these. And as you can see, I've run out of gold, but I have been saving all of my gold in here, which is another thing. If you're buying or getting these gold things, don't pop them as soon as you get them. Save them because they're based on your AFK loot. So I only want to pop these when I absolutely need it, which is now because I'm trying to upgrade my gear. So I'll pop 2 of them. That should be roughly everything I need. So now I can jump back over here and I can go into my Hua. Once again, I want to max this one out first because I want that evasion. And obviously we can go up another level, but I just want to do, because we can go to 5. How many can we go to? 5, 6? Yeah, it's 5. 5's max. But obviously I just want to go to 4 with this one next. Perfect. Happy days. That's done. Now I want to go over to my hats because once again, I really prioritize that evasion at the moment and the survivability of my carries, because they're not there just to deal damage. They're also there to survive. So now I go ahead and I upgrade that one to level 4 as well. Now, if you do find, like for instance, me, my hats is doing pretty well and my Hua is struggling, maybe that might make me want to upgrade my Hua entirely a bit further. But the problem for me is we're still at the stage in chapter 16 where your first enemy is harder and your second enemy is easier. So I need to level them evenly so that they compete with the deficit that they are fighting against, if that makes sense. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and enhance this one. Let's see if we have the gold. Once again, now we are getting into the chunking out of our equipment here. So we're getting into into that stage of being resource starved. And that's how quickly you can run out of resources when you get into this yellow gear phase. And that's why I say level up evenly as opposed to just getting one piece of gear, leveling it up to level 5, and then you have no more resources to get any levels out of the others, because you do get good growth out of them in the early levels. And the final mistake that I forgot to mention, I'm editing it in after, is going to be, it's actually a pretty big one, and that is going to be the changing the type of our gear, the change element thing. Now we get these cards from our dailies and stuff like that. Do not use these on anything but yellow gear. That is my recommendation. You got a 1 in 4 chance to get the right element you want when you re-roll it. I would prioritize trying to get your main 2 carries gear obviously first, like I mentioned, and then getting it on the right element, because that 30% bonus is going to be really nice. But don't be using these on your your purple gear, your red gear, because you're going to outpace it pretty quick and you're going to get into these yellows. And if you had bad luck, it sucks, because when you roll this, because I've rolled a couple of mine, you don't get to select which one it goes on. It goes to a random color. So you just have to keep going, and who knows, it may take you 10 of those tickets just to get one piece of gear on the right faction that you want. So keep that in mind. Also, if you are using multiple characters of it, consider saving it. This was a piece of gear that I had as a drop and it was yellow, and I already had that piece of my Hua, so I was lucky it was yellow, because that means it works on all my yellow supports, which is fantastic. But if you're rolling something and you're getting frustrated with it, maybe just leave it on something that's a little less optimal that you will use on a character in the future. But ideally, you want to get it for those carry units. So that pretty much covers it. Those are all like the big gearing mistakes and tips that I have for you guys in this one, in this like sort of mid-game stage of the game. Let me know if you guys have any others. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. Like I said, I prefer these two to be the first ones, then this one, and then this one I'll just wait to get through AFK loot and see what happens. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.